All right, welcome to Ink and Fitness. For those who are new to my channel, my name is Anthony. I am someone who went from skinny to fit, and these videos are pretty educational. So this way, you guys can go ahead and take what you're learning, implement it, especially if you are a skinny guy, be consistent with it, and get your own results inside of the gym. If you are someone who's looking for one-to-one coaching, the link for that will be down below in the description. So feel free to check that out. But enough about that. Let's get straight into the video for today, where we're going to be talking about weight gain hacks for skinny guys. So these are the weight gain hacks that I personally like to use back then when I used to be a pretty skinny guy. So I think this will definitely help you guys out. Just be able to get a little bit more extra calories in. Actually, know how to work up an appetite once more, so that way you don't dread the next meal ahead. And most importantly, you don't have to, you'll have to do very minimal force feeding, right? There's always going to be a degree of force feeding when you're bulking, just because you're not used to eating the amount of foods that you're presently eating when you're bulking, right? Especially if you reach up to those 3,000, 3,500 calories, maybe up even up towards 4,000 calories if you need it, in terms of food per day, right? So right off the bat, we have food choices. This is going to be the most important one in my opinion. It's probably why it's in number one here. But pick the foods that you actually look forward to eating every day, right? You don't want to eat the same old bland, boring foods that you eat. Lean chicken breast, tilapia, like those kind of lean meats are just not as appetizing. If you know how to cook them, if you know how to prepare them, then great. Make them, prepare them. But if you're looking for a little bit extra boost in calories, if you're looking for more tasty meats, more tasty meals, then you want to opt in for things that are a little bit more fattier. So foods such as chicken thighs, red meats, fatty fishes, so salmon, white rice, potatoes, olive oil. So those different types of foods are higher in calorie, right? And some of them are a little bit more fattier, and some of them are a little bit more carbier, like potatoes, and oatmeal and white rice. So consider getting those foods. I think this will definitely help you out. This will all make you hungry and increase your appetite because you're actually eating foods that you want to be eating. I'd say the last point, before I kind of move on to the next slide here, is look up recipes online. Don't just fucking pop a chicken thigh or two on the pan, cook it, put some salt on it, and have your veggies and your white rice. Like, yeah, it's quick to cook it that way, right? Especially if you have a job or whatnot. But if you actually want to make a tasty meal that you look forward to every day, then learn how to cook for yourself, right? Learn how to marinate your food, your meats, learn how to season your foods, learn how to make white rice less bland, actually season your veggies as well. You can literally look all these things up online, and it's not going to take as much time as you think it's going to take. It should take less than 20 minutes to make a really delicious and nutritious meal that's super high in calorie and gives you, the oomph that you need to train hard, to have the energy that you need to continue on the rest of your day and whatnot. So consider that as well. And finally, just the very last point here before I move on to the next slide. You can even have the occasional burger every now and then, which leads to my next point, cheat meals. So you don't want to cut out junk food or cheat meals at all whatsoever. You actually want to implement them strategically, right? You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to inhale everything in sight, because if you do that, then you're just going to gain excess fat that you don't need. It's going to weigh you down. You'll feel shitty, and it's not going to be a good time for you. So having an occasional cheat meal every now and then, so maybe like twice per week, maybe up towards 3 times per week is kind of where I would consider cutting it. As long as you're not going way above your calories, is completely fine. I always say the sweet spot that you want to stay in for whatchamacallit, a bulking phase, in terms of increasing your calories, so eating above your maintenance, is anywhere between 3 to 500 calories. Obviously, once you're deep into the bulking phase, those calories will, the end total calories that you'll be consuming is going to be quite large. So maybe you'll need to implement that occasional cheat meal or two or three, right? Whatever you need. But just implementing it here and there will help you get a good boost in calories. Plus, you'll get to sub it in for a meal that you're probably already eating every day. So if you eat the same meal every single day throughout the week, subbing out one of your meals for a cheat meal is really going to help you. It's going to really help just keep things more sustainable and more enjoyable for you in the bulking phase. One thing I will say, I always recommend just making sure that you pick a cheat meal that actually has a good amount of protein in it, because from what I understand, a lot of people like me, I love this too. I love sweets. A lot of people, when they hear cheat meal, they think of donuts, crumble cookies, right? Cake, just sweet shit, just a bunch of sweet shit. And that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're If your macros permit it, if your calories permit it, go ahead, have some of that. But the most important thing is that you're actually meeting your protein goals on a day-to-day basis. So if you're implementing or if you're putting in a cheat meal somewhere on your day-to-day eating, just make sure it has a sufficient amount of protein so that way you can actually meet your protein goals. Third point, liquid calories. This is going to be super helpful for some of y'all, especially the skinny guys. So if you have the budget for protein powder, then buy some. Go ahead and just buy some if you have the budget for it. By all means, you do not need it whatsoever, but it is an option for you to get some extra protein in if you have a hard time getting in enough protein. So you can make tasty protein shake recipes with very few ingredients. Just look some up online. There's a bunch of them. And some of those protein shake recipes will be super high in calories and high in protein as well. So there's some recipes that are 700 plus calories with 60 plus grams of protein in place, which is crazy. But it's to your benefit. So definitely look some of those recipes on up, make them, see which one resonates with you most, see which one is the most tastiest and just keep making it, right? Implement it here and there. Obviously, it shouldn't be like an everyday thing unless you want to, literally shit out pure liquid, right? Obviously, you don't want that because that's not going to be a fun time. Um, but just like having a protein shake or just some sort of liquid calorie once per day is completely fine. Just like the cheat meals, don't overdo it. You want to make sure your stomach is not upset or anything like that. Because if it is, then obviously, who wants to eat on an upset stomach? No one does. I usually recommend getting the chocolate protein powder flavor though, in case you guys are curious, which one I personally prefer. In terms of branding, I know there's some really good quality of proteins out there, but for the time being, those ones are a little bit more expensive. Just buy whichever one you're able to buy given your budget. So the Way Standard protein powder, I think that's what it's called, right? That's the one I started off using back then when I first started my fitness journey, just because it was relatively cheap at the time, actually. Now it's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like 45 bucks or something like that. But if the budget permits for it, go ahead. And as far as chocolate goes, like I just like that flavor because I feel like it goes well with almost everything. So that's kind of like, why I like chocolate because imagine mixing vanilla with peanut butter, oatmeal, bananas, milk. Like that shit's just gonna taste like straight ass. Like anything vanilla related, like in terms of flavoring, is not gonna taste good. At least in my opinion. I don't like it. So that's why I prefer chocolate. And obviously, the last point here is that liquid calories are just super easy to take down compared to solid foods. So make sure life easier, easier to make too, and the cleanup is easy as well. Walks. So after eating a big meal, usually what we want to do immediately is just, sit down on our bed, on our couch, maybe even the floor, who knows, and just lay there, right? And honestly, what I find when I've done that in the past is like as soon as I get up after like 15, 20 minutes or half an hour of just laying down, I feel even shittier. Like I feel even more full. Um, I feel like even the thought of food just made me want to gag and throw up. So what I find helps best is that if you, after you eat a big meal, just go on a short walk for 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be anything crazy long. But walking aids in digestion. It really does help move everything around there. And so like if you find after your walk, you'll feel less tired, you'll feel a little bit more hungrier, right? Your appetite starts to increase, and most importantly, like some of us, we feel brain fog when we just lay down after eating a big meal. But you won't feel that if you go out on a walk and you just, sweat things out a little bit. So walk around, help your body out, and then you'll find that you're a little bit hungry and a little bit more prepared to eat the next meal ahead. No distractions. Oh man, this is also a big one. I say the most important points or the most important topics or hacks as this video is all about is the first slide and this last slide here. I think this is the last slide. Yeah, it is. So no distractions. If you're someone who enjoys eating their meal while watching a show, movie, or scrolling through Instagram Reels or TikTok like I do, then you need to stop that because the reason is that when we're distracted watching a movie or a show, we focus very little on the meal that we have to eat, right? On the meal that we have to tackle. And before we know it, 45 minutes have passed or however long has passed in general, and we still haven't even made a dent into the meal that we need to eat. And then before we know it, we have to eat the next meal ahead. And we're kind of like, fuck, like I have to force feed now. I have to shove this food down my throat, and it's not gonna be great. I'm gonna actually legitimately end up throwing up from doing this. So to combat this, or the solution for this, is set a timer on your phone for 15 minutes. Sit down at your dinner table or wherever you have some privacy, free from distractions. And for the next 15 minutes, just focus on eating everything on your plate. And you will find that you make a big dent on your food, on your plate, or you just finish the whole plate completely. So um, definitely try that out. I think it's going to be really be a very beneficial hack for some of you guys. But that concludes the video for today. If there's something in specific that you all want to see, just let me know down below in the comment section. Please just make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help out my videos get out there in the YouTube algorithm. And if once more, if you are someone looking for one-to-one coaching, the link for that will be down below in the description. So feel free to check that out. Till the next one though, guys, take care. Much love to you all and peace.